You have the quorum.
22 by 14, yeah.
All right, so we have a quorum. This is the Historic Commission and the Historic District Commission of April 27th. We have a quorum of both boards. It's 7:03 and the meeting is being recorded. So I think if people don't mind, Dylan Lindholm, our town planner, is here to talk about the property RFP, so we can do that item first. There's a whole lot on the agenda, but yes.
Sure. I'm Dylan Lindholm, I'm the town planner. I also do ADA coordination and I do affordable housing. And affordable housing is why I'm here today. So this property has been set aside as affordable housing as well as recreation and open space. So right now, over the last year, what we've done is have a consultant, we had a grant for a consultant to come in and tell us how many units would make sense, you know, what the road would look like, what the unit configuration would look like. And what they gave us was something that just doesn't fit Mendon at all. We basically told them that's nice, but that's not gonna work here. So we left with that. Instead, we're looking to just put our foot in the water with affordable housing, and we're putting an RFP out for 1 to 5 units. And we're going to use just 4 acres of the property. So I'm here today about the barn itself. The part of the property we want to use for this is where the house and the barn is. And leave the rest for now. Don't touch it. Everything looks great as it is. We don't want to touch it. But the barn and the house, we want to see if a developer will use the existing structure of the house. And the situation is with the barn. From the building commissioner, he says that it's not salvageable as is, but maybe some pieces of it could be salvageable. And in our RFP to find a developer to do this project, we've incentivized and we're saying we're giving more points to whoever can prove that they can reuse parts of the barn or recreate that same look in that same place, in that location. It's really unfortunate that the barn isn't something that could just be used as it is right now, but with the state of the structure, we don't want to lose the look, but unfortunately the structure is not salvageable. So I'm hoping from you guys if I can get just a consensus or a letter would be great for the RFP to say, that's okay, I understand that the barn can't be, might have to be taken down. And that if a developer can put something back there that really looks like it, or at least salvages some of the structure, then that would be best, but we don't know what the developer will come up with.
So, where is the access road to this?
So the entire project is, we don't know what it would look like yet. We're asking the RFP to show us what the development could look like. And it might be that they just utilize the house and put 1 unit in. We're happy with that. They might put 2 and use where the barn is for another. We also gave the option of putting another 3 behind it, up to 4 acres of space being used for 5 units. But we're giving that a very wide range, saying 1 is great, 2 is great too. There's no sort of plan yet. The RFP is to give us a plan that makes sense. And if it doesn't make sense, then it's not something that we will act on.
I have a question. A unit, is that a house? A duplex?
It's 1 family unit, so
Oh, okay.
sometimes like a 2-unit house would be a 2-family. But it just depends on how they build the structure. If they make the house into a 2-family, I don't know. But
So we're talking like basements or slab construction or?
we don't know. So this is just about the barn itself.
Yeah. Oh, it's really hard to reach out and make a decision, not really knowing what's down the road. Because in a lot of cases, things come down that maybe there could have been a discussion.
Yeah, that's why I want to come early before we put the RFP out and talk about the barn itself, because from what we understand, there is no using the barn as it is.
Right.
So,
I have pictures.
Yeah,
If it's helpful to see.
Did they go up there?
Yeah.
we just don't want a developer to look at the RFP, see that this is protected and not apply at all because they don't think that there's any chance of getting through
Could
you
you
guys.
make a condition that it's negotiable,
What,
the barn would be negotiable?
in what sense?
In other words, to the developer, that there's no, the future barn is not
Part of the,
determined.
part of the sale, you mean?
Yeah, that it's,
Okay. It sounds like you're doing it. You're basically saying, here's the property, what do you propose here? The barn is an option.
Yeah, the barn's an option.
We're not telling them to do or not do
I'll
something.
tell you, if a family moves in there, the barn might end up being soon in the state that it would need to be removed because of it being.
oh yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
think
we
all
don't wanna
get
get to that point. We'd rather that they salvage maybe the siding or something like that, salvage some of the wood, create a structure in its place that has the same look. Or uses pieces of it to create something that does a really good nod to what it was. Because it's unfortunate to lose that piece of that property.
What is the potential to salvage the stone walls? Because we
Yeah.
still have a lot of stone wall
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
remnants
Right.
in town.
So that would be something that we give more weight to when, if we have people apply, we'll have multiple applications come in, and if someone says, hey, we can save all of this and we can use it in its place, or we can salvage this and that, then they'll get more points when we're looking at this, and they'd have a higher chance of being selected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we have it dated yet? Has anybody evaluated the age of it?
I do have information about the house.
What was the
Barn
email
was,
thread?
was very unclear. Yeah,
I mean, this property is actually not on the historic inventory because the assessors have it listed as 1960 because it was rebuilt.
the original house is 1858, and it does have a macros file, but it's not correct because the
Right.
house, yeah.
But pardon me, I missed the very beginning. Are you the landowner selling the rights for development?
I'm your town planner.
Okay, that's what I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay, so you're the,
yeah,
so this is town owned
Town
land?
owned, yeah.
And you're putting out an RFP for a
Yeah.
generic one, like
for affordable housing.
for affordable housing.
Yeah.
Did we not have another one in another space?
Across the street.
Across the street.
And you didn't get any
No.
responses?
Yeah, that was a very difficult property. It was a.
How do they
what-
differ in difficulty of development?
That one, there would have to be a lot more units, a lot more, it would probably end up being more apartment style because of how many units you'd have to fit on it. In order to make it.
Like
even
for
break
economic
even,
reasons or
economic
for compliance reasons?
Economic reasons,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, so no developer was interested because they wouldn't even break even.
The cost benefit was not there.
Yeah, they had to build a bridge, which is.
Oh, they had to build, they would have to
They
build
would have
a
to build a
bridge.
bridge, yeah. So that-
Over, is it over a gully or
It's,
over a legit,
It's
like
like
what?
an intermittent stream.
Okay.
Situation there, yeah. And in Mendon, it's extremely difficult to put in any amount of affordable housing. And a lot of times you see in other towns like these big complexes because they have water and sewer and all of that, which even if we did get water, that still wouldn't be something that Mendon could handle. We're just not equipped, even if we did have water. But that's why we're looking at, hey, can we put one unit in? Can we
So
put two?
This
Yeah.
particular property is just more, the ease of development is more than the other one.
This is one property that we have obtained with the caveat that it must be used.
Oh, so there's a
as
condition.
affordable housing.
Okay.
There are multiple uses for this property.
Mhm.
This will just take up 4 acres of, I think it's something like.
Does 1 to 5 units?
32 acres,
Does
sorry?
1 to 5 units
It's this property.
fulfill our quota for the state for
Absolutely not.
affordable housing? I think so.
No way.
What does the state quota look like?
That's
Just
what I
out of
was
curiosity.
10%?
10%, and where are we right now?
2,
Oh,
something around 2.3 or something like that, yeah. So the thing is, it's extremely difficult in Mendon to get to 10%. It will be, but why not put one in? maybe 5. But if we could put 1 in, I think that would be a step forward for us.
Would that keep them off your back for a while?
Well, maybe a little bit, but.
And I think unfortunately, nobody's gonna come in here and build an unfriendly 40B
No.
because it's not viable for them.
No, yeah.
But I think it came up in the discussion with the Meehan property at one point, that was one of their things, we could just do this.
Right.
Are you allowed to have accessory dwelling units in London?
Oh,
Yeah.
So we could add affordable housing by encouraging accessory dwelling units.
The rental units, like if it's an accessory.
Okay,
still
you know,
count.
rental above
Yeah,
the garage.
yeah.
So I'm kind of
Yeah,
thinking out.
still count, and the state is really pushing those.
Yeah, because I thought about that in the back.
Yeah.
On mine, like put the garage in and just put a studio above it.
Yeah, this property would be affordable homes for sale,
Mhm.
for.
So not for rent, for sale.
Yeah, not for rent, for sale.
Locked into the affordable equation.
Exactly, yep, it'd be affordable for life.
Can anyone get out of an affordable?
They can,
Yeah, how do you resell it if it's
Right.
affordable
It's
housing
sold
for life
at
and
a
you
lower
flip
price.
it?
Yeah,
Okay.
lower price, it still has to stay within the.
So you have
range.
you have economic margins that you have to, so if you sell it and properties have appreciated by 30%, you can
There's some
make
sort of.
sale rules.
Yeah, the state takes care of it with you, so like if you bought an affordable home and then you wanna sell it, you talk to the state and they walk you through it, and they have a whole plan of how it works.
They have an equation.
Yeah,
Is there a wait list, when there's affordable units that become
Oh, yeah.
available? Is there a
Yes.
wait list that those are the preferred?
a lot of times, and I
Purchases.
think for this case as well, a lot of times there's a preference to people who live and work in the town. So that would be something that we prioritize. And then, other than that, it's the state's, they take applications and they have their own equation of who needs to have an affordable home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Based on income, family size, things like that.
No, I certainly don't disagree with you. I'm sure there are some safety issues with that building. It'd be nice to document, document more of it. What do you think?
If you could use parts of the original barn foundation and lumber to just reconstruct the new houses, I mean, that's what I would do. So like,
Yeah.
you know, disassemble the barn, sort the lumber, utilize the walls,
Exactly.
and just go from there.
I mean, that would
Then
be,
you have a split level and it's more energy efficient anyway.
Yeah.
So, you know.
the house that's there is almost, it's close to being a 2-family with not a lot of work, it's
Right.
decent.
It has been used, as used for.
Yeah, I think, I would like to see this rebuilt. I think, we should maybe mention, if we have specific, we want it to be a certain way in this style of this barn, and the exterior and salvage what they can out of it would be, strong preference, I think.
You know, I'm working on this thing in the economics department in conjunction with them about towns issuing bonds to construct the housing, rather than just looking for a developer to come in and like basically see if they can churn some profit out of the town. Like where the town issues the bond to build, where you're in land to build the homes. And then the bond is purchased by the state because they want affordable housing.
Right.
So, and then it just sits on your balance sheet, like, so if you have a pension or, you have the firemen's and all these different people's pensions, the bond is part of their portfolio. I mean, has the town considered that instead of trying to go this route, because this is a losing route? Developers are not.
It's very tough, yeah. Before you came in, I think I mentioned that, on this specific property, we talked to a consultant, we had a grant, and they did a whole project looking at the viability of affordable housing on here. And they basically told us the only viable option was like 50 homes. And we said, that's not gonna work, that's not for us.
It's not with
No,
like the
yeah.
town, what was it, the survey they did, what
Yeah,
people,
it
the
doesn't,
master plan where they stated they didn't want that.
it doesn't fit
Yeah.
Mendon's, desires, it doesn't fit Mendon's, capacity, so it just wasn't something that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's why I was thinking like if Mendon would consider, like if we put forward a proposal to consider issuing a bond to build something we had control
We
over.
can certainly talk
Like,
about it at some point.
You know, I mean, I could probably work it through our Harvard department, like, it might be a great student.
Yeah.
Like, you know, because, well, student projects, like, we have a law department, they do real work,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, they do stuff.
So we can connect after.
Yeah, that way, you put out an RFP, like we could like design the homes to particularly integrate the barn. The barn could be like repurposed as a, like, I don't know how it's zoned, but maybe a mixed use for business, like where you could have,
Yeah, it's only.
I don't know, residential
Yeah, I
only.
think so.
Or like, you know, it could be repurposed in a way where it's at least partially present. And that the houses were built to reflect the character of the barn.
That's our goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely have a high priority on that in the RFP.
Yeah,
And, yeah, maybe no one bids,
yeah.
but our hope is that someone bids and has a really nice, strong application that cares about the history, cares about Mendon.
Yeah.
And a lot of these people, they're nonprofits, they're not just like big developers that are in it for the profit. They do this as their job, as nonprofits and yeah, so that's our hope. I just, need to know that it's not gonna be a terrible disaster with this loss of the barn, which I think is really unfortunate, but I wanna talk to you guys first and make sure you hear it and understand where we're at.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly do understand, and I think our biggest hiccups have been in the past, a poor communication line and, promises made and promises broken. So it would be nice to know that, that there's some inclusion in keeping things moving forward to achieve what you want to achieve and not lose everything in the process.
Yeah, there's always the very slim chance that someone comes in and, it's our only response to RFP, and they say, there's no way we're saving any of this. We also have the ability to select nobody. That is helpful.
Not that we want you to do that.
Yeah. We're gonna try to find a middle ground here.
Best of both worlds.
But, as someone who owns a century home myself, I mean, my house was built in 1883. So I really care about history as well. I really care about protecting that, and I hope that who we select would too.
Yeah. And I we've talked in the past about, how structures on a street support each other. So like Main Street, each building supports the next. So it feels like a historic cluster, as does that end of,
Exactly.
is it Main or Providence? There's several houses that
I think
kind of follow suit.
Yeah.
The one across the street is an old boot maker's, the little 10-footer, across the street. So it would be nice to see consistency in that kind of design, so.
Yeah. I mean, I personally would love if I moved into a house and they said, we used all the wood from the barn. You can see the beams here and this is the original wood. I think that would be great.
Yes.
So that's my hope at least.
All right, my only ask is that if there are chestnut beams in there, we offer them to the guys across the street.
Sure.
We need them to keep that 10-footer standing, so
Got it. Okay.
that's my wish.
Did we want to have someone go through and document this structure?
Yeah, we should, yeah.
That may be something we want to find someone who does that and contract them and get that done before it's coming down tomorrow. So I don't even know who does that work, but.
I have a guy who I'll reach out to him first.
We also, we don't can spend a lot of money, I don't know what that.
He might
No,
do
I
a
mean-
condition survey with, reusable timber.
A couple $100 to have somebody go through, document everything,
Yeah,
some
yeah,
pictures.
that would be nice. Dylan, what is your time frame?
I'm hoping to put the RFP out in the next 2 months, so June, July, like that.
And when you say the previous person wants to do 50 houses, do we not want 50 houses?
We can't support it with the schools,
Okay.
even the water underneath, I don't know how much water they would
Okay.
have, all those wells. So, and it wasn't the developer, it was just a consultant that told us that this would be the best plan
Oh,
if we
okay.
wanted to, you know.
I just don't wanna end up with a brick concrete.
Yeah, there's no way. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Karen.
Oh, that's a little
Such a bummer.
And that's why we wanna keep this small, and it's only a small piece of the property, 4 acres out of, I think, 36 or something like that.
Mhm.
Reserve the rest of, most of the backland is gonna still be open space, and I think there's plans for recreation back there. It still leaves, I think, 6 acres set aside for the goal of a future housing project. Probably another small one, but maybe slightly bigger than this goal here of 1 to 5, yeah.
And did you need something written from us, or were you?
It would be helpful, I mean, just in the RFP, I want to explain that you guys are not gonna go after them, you know, if the barn comes down or something like that. I just don't wanna scare them away.
Well, I think, so I believe this, because of the quirk of the age, this property is not bound by demolition delay bylaw, because it was not on our list.
No, it's 75.
It might be good to just write a letter, basically says it was discussed in this meeting, and here's the
Yeah.
situation,
Yeah.
what our recommendations are.
Yeah,
That would be great, just so I can include that in the RFP and they know that this is going to be a friendly environment to come into.
I do think
Friendly.
we should be mindful if there's other properties like this, where there's a barn attached to a newer property, we can add them to our inventory, and we should.
yeah.
I think that was an oversight, or there's been a couple that we've come across.
I always thought because it was part of the parcel, that the existing structures.
Yeah, and this is and I don't know if you were on that thread with the text, this was a weird one, like the house partially burned. I was 10 when the house was
Right.
built, the foundation and cellars where we lived from 1952 or so, who knows how old the barn is. So they like rebuilt it, but then parts of it are old still.
Right. So I
And I don't
wouldn't
know
be
what
surprised.
triggers age over there.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't connected, you know, across the street to the boot shop. Because it
Yeah.
could have been used for
And then the
manufacturing,
mattress maybe.
just
starts.
farming.
Yeah, the Macros didn't really,
And it has a listing in Macros for the house that was there, but the entry into Macros was after the house was gone, so I don't understand where that came from.
Right,
In the 80s. What do we have on this computer? Yeah, strange.
all right, I can, you know, make sure we do our due diligence and, you know, clean up the historical aspect if there is any.
Yeah.
From there.
that would be great, thank you.
Ellen, do you wanna go home?
Been here all day. But then we're at the meeting before the.
They're sticky outs in there, I got my screen, and I'm so bad.
Thank you, Deb.
Thank you.
The same thing.
Thank you.
Your name?
Thanks, Philip.
Something instead of.
You're not that smart, Hazel.
That's not true, and.
I guess I'm.
No, I mean,
How does
it's,
that work?
okay, here's how it works. This is like meetings about this.
Yeah,
So the town issues the bond. The bond is purchased by someone like in state government who's like, we want affordable
Right.
housing. We agree
We're
to
gonna-
purchase. Say we need $2 million to build
Yeah.
2 townhouses, whatever you're gonna build. We put that budget together, we issue a bond for that amount of money, it's sold to the state holds the asset. And when we sell the houses, the proceeds from the sale and the future taxes pay that bond. So like, you know, so it,
and where is this, I'm just curious how it ties in like this, because we have CPA.
because
so
then
we
you
have-
control everything. You say,
Yeah.
we want 3 brick townhouses that face each other on a little tree-lined street that are 1,200 square feet and have, you know, 2 bedrooms upstairs and, you know,
Yeah.
living room down. You control everything, you control the look, you control the access.
Right.
You could have a pooled well system, like you have some efficiency there, but you can control the way it looks and fits into the community. We could hire a designer.
Right, you guys need to do the work.
Like a designer that is liked by the people in the town and feels like they get the town. And they could just churn out different designs until we're like, oh yeah, that one, you know. And then we choose the design, you get a committee and they vote on it. And then your bond pays the person who builds it. And the bond's owned by the state, they sit in, you know, your pension fund
Well, that's
basically.
interesting, maybe they should,
That's like what
Think
we're
about
working on.
for like the other property too, where it's, at this point, it sounds like it's not,
Same
it's not
thing.
worth their time, but
No, but it's with our time, because we become more in compliance into the state's requirements, so we might get to 5%. And then, you know, we do 1 or 2 more, and then we're at 10% until the population grows.
I believe,
But it's a mechanism, and like I've been working with like, there's some economists at Brown and a few at Harvard, and they're trying to find these like micro projects, instead of doing these big state, federal, blah, blah, blah things, like these little micro projects. But the hardest thing is to get the people in the town to understand the bond mechanism. Like, they're issuing, like, they're not going into debt per se, but they are, because they're, you know, putting together this package. But we can find a guaranteed buyer for the bond, you know, and then they adjust the percentages. But because there's so much push in the state of Massachusetts and the counties to have affordable housing and to meet these metrics, they're willing, you know, from the Brown people working on the state, so I haven't talked about them a lot, but like,
Those
yeah, but they've been working, you know, like, it's a little work group, but, I mean, it can be done. It just involves getting people in the town, like, on that, like, to not be scared. Oh, $2 million, $3 million of debt, we issue a bond, then we're gonna owe people, like, they get scared because they don't, but if you can present the full life cycle of the whole thing, like, you issue bond, you hard to, you know, these people, the state buys bonds, the sale goes to, you know, clear the bond. Like, they feel so much more comfortable, it's like a flow chart, oh, I see. You know, we don't have to hold that debt for that long, you know. So,
they should talk about this going into this, so they're most likely gonna bring back the senior center project and the library project as expansions, so I wonder. if
you
this
do the same
conversation
thing
is-
there,
Well,
with
see,
your
well, because the senior
bond,
project
yeah.
ties into that
Yeah.
other property, then maybe there's an opportunity to develop and.
Yeah, add a few.
They're gonna bring it back as an
units.
expansion to the existing building?
The rumor I've heard is that they're gonna, in 27, the idea is to come back with a proposal to renovate and expand the existing senior center and also renovate and expand the rectory for the library and have it packaged to the voters as one package, but it's 2 projects just funded together. But that's just the timeline, I don't know whether that's realistic or,
Couldn't they just put the
you know.
senior center on this property?
You probably could, you could probably
No,
add.
we bought CPA, we have to unwind that sale and refund all the money.
No,
They specifically bought
It's
52
just like that, because I
with
thought that they
semis.
already did a study that said it wasn't really gonna work out in the existing location.
right,
Well, so it's, I
but
don't,
what you could do,
I think they've had a new study and looked at new things, so.
you could just keep them on the properties that they were originally scheduled for, just issue one large bond that encompasses this development here, and the senior center. But because you have the affordable housing piece, the state would be more willing to buy in that bond, you know? And then you have the sale from all those properties and future property taxes to help fund. Senior center doesn't give you any property taxes, but if you tie bond in with things that will yield property taxes, you have revenue, so
Yeah.
in theory. People pay their property taxes.
Right now, it's in a think tank, but it hasn't gone, it's not on the ground yet.
But you mean this bond,
Yeah, the bond.
it's a project, but I mean, this is the ideal type of setting for the
Sure.
project, which is a small setting. You know, where you're not building 50 houses, you're building maybe 5 and 5 and scenes.
When are they gonna
Like-
try and do this? We're doing it
Next
over right now, right?
Next year, yeah.
Oh, Lord.
So if you can show the
What's
funding
that
mechanism,
entail if they're gonna.
more likely to pass,
You know, that's too bad.
Yeah, no, I'm just the messenger, I'm not, that's whatever.
Come on, Dan, we don't tell you all about that.
I think, you know, I think there was such a push towards a new building that it maybe clouded other options that were out there. So I think they're trying to
Gotcha, so
repackage
maybe
it and
there
see
is
if it's
an
feasible in a different way. Whether any of them pass, who the hell knows, but that's.
Well, if anybody decides they wanna help me push an idea for this, I could work with a student group and we could put the financials together. But the town would have to
Well, we
seriously
should
consider
connect,
it.
you should
Yeah.
talk to Dylan some more.
I think it's more like, so
'Cause
the place where we see the biggest risk is just pushback from older, kind of set in their ways, town people who are terrified of any debt, terrified.
Did you sit down with them and explain?
Yeah,
what you
yeah, I
just
could
said?
bring the work group, the kids would make slides, and they'd go through the financials. And then I just think it'd be really great for Mendon to choose the type of homes and the type of look. And you have some ecological, like, we have green space, low-income people often have children, they should have green space to play in and be able to be outside and not be up on a road or an apartment square or, you know, which would be so nice. They create a nice habitat, it's not the right word, but for children and for people like a fireman who's got, you know, a brand new baby or like starter families. They have like a big push of money, so.
Yeah.
So true.
I mean, I'll ask the kids if we can put a pack together to see if, you know, maybe they would consider it. But you are issuing a big bond, I mean, it's the entire cost of the.
Well, once
village.
it's been done, and then come back and say, here's the thing that was done, and here's.
Yeah, but that's just it, if it's successful once, maybe you only build 4 units. If it's totally successful, then we can do that over here.
Right,
We
right.
can do it over here, you know.
Because builders are not interested in coming in here, they're just not unless they can put in.
Because they wanna like retire in Florida with $20 million, you know, they don't, this is not their dream. But people who have to live in this community.
Right.
I care about it,
Well, I think that you can only do so much build so much in town because you're limited with the size of the school. So there's only so much you can do at a time.
You could do a mix of 55 plus and young, like
Yeah,
you could
no,
do.
you can do 55
we're doing
plus,
6
we don't have
units,
much.
yeah.
They
3 of them are
they
55
tried
plus.
that down at Cook's Crossing. And none of the 50, I think they had 2 55 pluses and that was it.
Were they
They
sold
were
out, did they
sold
sell
out.
them?
They were sold at retail.
Well, the town let them.
Yeah.
I think now too, you start to jump into the world of condos and
Mm-hmm.
the stats on that aren't looking great year over year right now, so.
But that's why the bond in single family housing works, because the town doesn't need to make a profit, it needs to be compliant with the 10%. So the profit motive out, it's pure aesthetics and compliance, you know, that's it.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Look at how I get my students, like they're my students, my fellow students, you know, like fellow work group people.
Definitely talk to Dylan.
Yeah,
you should-
Maybe even Andy.
Yes, I think it's more about this. I think we just started, now that Dylan's full-time, having these conversations about housing and all that, I think.
Yeah.
It's just at the beginning of, you know, an employee who can actually do the work instead of volunteers trying to figure it out.
Right.
But if you can like, you can put together a committee and you can have folks from the historic committee on the committees to get a look right. You know, this looks like we think Mendon should look, you know.
All right, so should we circle back to the beginning?
Sorry.
I think, Christina sent minutes for the district commission. I don't know, like, if we wanna put them on screen, or I can print them out, or if people are good.
If we're all here, you can turn them up on screen.
Yeah.
Even if I can't read them.
Well,
Yeah, all right.
yeah.
You should get rid of it on.
Are these the ones you sent out?
These are the ones Christina
Make
sent.
them all.
I just, so,
Are these the, tell them?
Make it bigger, Dan, bigger.
Let's get Steve.
That's all right, that's good.
All right, so this is 323.
Did we have the issues on here about the road junk?
Uh-huh.
The road, the DOT started marking 16.
Oh.
I don't know which ones are in here.
I didn't know if that was on this or not.
I mean, I want to scroll.
You're good.
So that's the end of that one. Which one was that? This is,
those marches.
Yeah, that was March, this is January 29th. So. Annual report, nothing. Budget.
9:14.
It's not, it's not scrolling,
Oh, I'm done.
sorry.
Out of here. Let's do that. Sorry, try again, all right, January 29th. Budget, signage. More signage. Oh, that's right, we talked about it. Flags, property owners, tavern, old business, nothing. And then this is the initial discussion of Cape Road. 250th. And then. Why doesn't my control button work? February 23rd. I think this might have been, no, I guess we didn't really.
I couldn't tell if I needed to do minutes for that one, because at first it what we did, and then we weren't sure if there was a quorum. We were all online.
Oh, okay, I don't remember, whatever. Must have not. Maybe we didn't have a quorum then. Maybe that was me, we didn't have a quorum, we just discussed.
Yeah, I didn't make.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Anyway.
Yeah, all right. Okay, so those are the 3 minutes from this district commission. It was January 29th, February 23rd, and March 23rd. I guess, does someone want to make a motion?
I motion to approve the minutes for January, February, and March minutes for the historic district.
A second?
All of those in favor?
Aye. Right, yeah, okay, and then I'll have to see where we're at for minutes. I think we're in decent shape. There's maybe some historic commission ones we'll have to do, but.
I know, I sent them at about 6 o'clock tonight, so.
Hang on.
That's not about good.
I got them.
Did you get them? Dan, did you get them?
I've got an email with AI. Oh, attached to the minutes. There was no attachment.
Oh,
Karen, did you get?
I have an email, just says attached to the commission minutes with nothing attached to it.
All right, yeah, I think I did not attach
That's
the
okay.
minutes. I did, I'm gonna attach them then.
Just resend it.
It says right here that they're attached. They must be attached.
or attached,
Were they Christina's?
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
Attached are the commission minutes. I don't see it, they're not attached.
Our emails.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I don't think your attachment went through.
No,
I would be surprised.
no, I didn't.
Aw. A for effort, oh, really?
Run out for water, I'm gonna make dinner, finish the minutes, into the next meeting. All right.
Assessor, on A's for assessor still, trying to transfer things over. We have an abatement worker that's gonna hopefully,
I'm
download
just
the
gonna
minutes.
attach. Bingo.
The narrative for the plaque, I saw that.
That's the other thing, you find that.
Talking about the narrative for the plaque.
No, I did send you a narrative.
We use that, I forwarded.
Did you get it?
Yeah.
February
They
2?
forwarded it.
Did we approve February?
I have.
January,
no
February,
idea.
March, right?
Hang on.
Yeah.
Let me open my, we for a district though.
Oh,
Hang on.
that's different.
Historic, I'm on forward because I did organize these one day. Minutes. The most recent stuff I have for the historic commission looks like not recent at all.
Okay.
They're in a different place, hang on.
February and March, I'm sending to you all right now.
You said something. Kathy minutes, what comes up with that? Kathy minutes has attachments. Kathy Schofield, notes, hi, attached, yes. Oh, you said minutes for, we might have not done these, 2:23, or maybe we did.
I think that was a while ago, I said that,
Maybe back in time a little bit. Did we do 129, did we vote on these? Call to order. September, this one. Let me just send. Yeah, I don't know if we voted on 2:23. That sounds right, unless there's this one. No, I think we just started meeting. Yeah, all right. How much, there you go. There, window. Screen. So January 29th, I don't know if we did these, this is the Historic Commission.
Christine, you have to send me your template. I like yours much better.
I think, yeah, because I think September 25 are the last ones I had in my folder, so that makes sense.
September 25?
No, then we voted on this meeting, and I see it in my folder, so I have them. This is the same conversation on district signage.
Yeah, it is.
Records and update, wasn't in the minutes because it didn't apply, and 11K Road. More 11K Road. And then there was the other ones. March 23rd. This is the meeting we have with Church.
Yes, is her name Cheryl? I got that off the property record card, but the AI said Christine. Or Christine.
lady? Yeah.
McCutcheon.
Yeah. So, well, it's in there as,
Can be on their website. I genuinely don't. Probably I'll share it with this. I'll double check that we never named her.
alright.
Alright, so that was the whole discussion. Where do we need to do anything from that, or are we good?
If I were the commission, I would send her a registered letter with a packet with all the information, so there's no more confusion. I think it's really important.
Because they own a lot of property. That was the
Yeah.
conversation we had with her about, these properties on 16, they're
In their district, yeah.
She was supposed to go after him for the permit, right?
But do we,
I don't think I need to look we should follow up with John Erickson as well on that and just say, hey, how do we handle this?
Without a permit, yeah.
At minimum, they should be going back and getting a permit after the fact. If we're not gonna find, if we're not doing anything,
right,
they
In the
don't
meeting, she said she'd go after him.
get to do nothing.
right,
Yeah.
yeah.
But honestly, if they find them, they won't forget.
Well, that's
So
just
that's
it.
just it, if you don't enforce what you have on the books, then she can say, oh, I don't remember, and we just weren't aware. If you got a fine and the fine is registered, even if they waive it later, if you ask for a fine, it's on record that they were fined, they will not forget a fine, you know,
Yeah.
I would fine them.
Well, in other
According
towns,
to
they
the-
charge you double fees.
Yeah, well, just do that.
You do.
Just charge the fees, and they can put in a ask to have them waived or
Yeah.
whatever, or a request for clemency, or I don't know, whatever it is. But then it's on record that they were fined, so they cannot come back later and say, oh, no, no.
I think it would have to be the building department.
Yeah, well, let me-
that-
Let me email John back to say
It's
that,
not,
what is the next steps here?
Yeah.
That, we'd like to see that this is enforced or.
Yes, because you
It's not being
cannot have
permanent,
bylaws
totally
and
cool.
not enforce them.
and it's on the main road,
Yeah.
surprised that didn't get
Yeah, nobody
flagged.
Anyway.
So Dan, do you want me to, I will send her a packet in the mail with all of the information she needs to know.
Yeah, I mean, if you have something, I can send it out if you want.
Send a
To the-
packet with the fine.
So check her Route 16 address.
I would
Send them to.
I would make up a letter and it should be mailed, well, I think it's probably all one address, if anything. Well, there's two addresses, the stuff they own personally and the stuff the church owns.
So
Sorry, I
we'll
probably-
do all of those addresses.
Didn't she say she wasn't
Sure, I
getting
didn't mean,
one
can
of
I
the
call you back?
addresses?
No.
Yeah, she said something about getting
Yeah.
a PO box.
She
I
wasn't
think
getting
because she said she's
Yeah,
technically
no,
not the
yeah.
owner,
Right.
the church owns it, but
Alright,
I think it was the house,
She owns the home.
right, where
So she
somebody
doesn't
else
live
was
in it.
staying.
Right.
Yeah. And I can't remember if it was 11 or 12.
11,
11.
but they own property on 16 that
But why
they own
couldn't you
first.
just send it to the Route 16 and just say, regarding property X, Y, and Z? This all applies.
Registered by
Both.
or priority mail,
There's two
trackable
We can-
mail.
$5.
But just to make sure they're aware of the, especially,
Priority is like
here's the
$12.
process, here's the flow chart,
Right.
here's what you need to know.
No, but I'll create one just for this special occasion.
Would actually be good to have it, because then you
It
could.
would be, yeah. Especially like
Then it's
new
done.
property owners, yeah. Not everybody knows they've bought, a building or a structure in a historic.
I think they know more often than we have, let's say.
I did, speaking of that, I don't know if you saw, somebody asked for templates in the listserv, so I sent out the letters we sent for the district. And they were all like, oh, that was really interesting. We've been,
Yeah,
if we send out a hearing notice, there's like a back page that explains what it all is. And then I think we sent a bunch of people like a hearing notice that had like a whole FAQ on the district.
yep,
So I'm trying to do two.
Yeah. no, that's great. So I'll put that together and shoot that out. Okay, let's read it.
Sorry, this,
Sorry,
So
we're
just
just
text me.
reading from my else.
I would like to talk about
What's going on with the state?
the road, the state DOT road stuff, because it's coming quickly, and they told me they were going to, they sent a letter to us, and I would just assume everybody's
I think
talking about
none of that's on the agenda, so we
To wait.
repost. Unless it's something, unless it's under 48 hours, like it's a short.
Well, I
Well, they are out there surveying and marking, and they haven't put the fencing around the historic, like the post road sign, or, it's just, I think they're just doing.
The last conversation we had, so maybe this should remain on our agenda as a standing item, that's my bad, I'll remember to do that.
The road, yeah.
I know they said Civil War can now remain. They made that whole island may shrink a bit, but the monument is fine.
But is it gonna be protected from snowplow and car strikes, like,
I don't
that's
think
a
it's
huge
gonna be,
issue.
it's gonna be pretty much the same as it is now with maybe the point of that triangle gone.
We should ask for some sort of mitigation,
Yeah,
because if, they will hit it.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be set back from the, it's set back to what we're
That one I'm not
it's never been
worried
before.
about is the post road sign, because while they're building, we're doing.
So maybe we should suggest, I think at this point, maybe the best action would be, let's set a meeting date and see if somebody can come to our meeting.
That will be,
Ideally,
it's.
not to keep putting John, let's go with John, maybe Jeremy, because I think it does seem like we're getting a runaround, and oh yeah, they're
That
working on.
Kimberly Sloan is the project
Yeah.
manager, and then she gave me, she said that I was gonna hear any minute from the, the contractor, which of course is malarkey, but, so I'll just keep, I send her a letter every day, and so,
so, why don't we ask her to come to a meeting?
I think she should come with whomever is going to be the
Right.
site manager, and they should present how they're gonna guard the monuments during the construction, and then the post road marker will be right on the road, which means it will be hit by the snowplow. I mean, I feel like it should be moved and set back a few feet, and then have, Milford has a little doodah around it, like little decorative trees, and maybe we should do the same thing.
You know what, by the post road marker, you don't mean one that's up on, next to your property.
Yeah, that one.
Oh, that one,
They've
okay.
got it like, it's spray painted right in front of them, so the road is gonna be right there.
Yeah.
It's gotta move back.
I would feel like the fountain needs to be moved back a little bit further too.
I mean, it's in the Civil War thing, like, think of those big snow plows.
Yeah, if you can find it, can you put it up?
trying.
The letter?
I think, no, I have the plans, I guess Ellen found them, but I don't know if I'm gonna find
Yeah,
them.
that's not like all the
Again, I think-
work and I should have. Bunch.
I took a picture of it, of the one page with the Civil War on it.
So I'm assuming that they're gonna take that road out between the monument and the house.
I've got that, I've been looking more closely at the intersection, but I've got the drawings. Next time we meet, I'll just have a packet with the drawings and the letters, and we can look at them.
Okay.
Big street.
I did talk to, it's Ted Carlson that owns that.
At least have this.
Yeah.
And I asked him,
So
I
you
said,
can
"Have
kind of
you
see
heard
the
anything
whole
from the
island
town?"
silhouette underneath.
Did he
Oh, so
talk
that's,
That's fine, they're
to
gonna
state?
have this new small island in the back of the
are
side.
they gonna put that adorable little Mendon or Providence, you know, the little sign that's in that way?
That little house.
Like,
What's the sign?
Yeah, there's like a little
Stop
street.
going on Route 16.
There is.
No. Sawmill?
Yes.
There's a school. No, it's
He's got
right
a big
here,
machine.
it's
and he
right at
cuts
that
boards
stage where
on
it
Route
faces.
16.
But if it's just a bit longer, it's gonna,
Hold on.
we can move that
Yes,
into our
yeah.
development.
Really nice guy, very nice.
Would he sell that place though?
No, I think, I know it's not even thinking
Oh,
about that.
this is a different spot.
Because it'd be nice
I
to
was
sell it
thinking
and
of-
fix it, like, it's.
That would be a great affordable.
Because I always talk to that little lady who works at the post office and has nowhere to live, and I was like, fix that little blue house, and look at the there. You could
Well,
walk.
see, now these are times when the town should approach these property owners and say, we can.
Well, I
live
thought
in
about
this
sending them a letter, because, you know, I've probably.
And still, and
So let's,
Someone's gonna just drive into that little house.
Yeah, that's just it, you know, unless it really
Well, they
needs
gotta
like
get the
a,
I mean, I would
It's
hate
a
to spot, and like, it's a
Like a
terrible
stone
fence.
it needs a stone fence. I'm considering, that's what I'm considering for front of mine, because I'm afraid now, it's too close.
so let's reach out and see if we can have them with updates. I just made notes so that we're concerned about the Civil War monument, the post road marker. And then Deb was just asking about this sign here, that we did ask for funding.
This time, it could be relocated,
Well, so this, I mean, this island is going away.
but the sign in it is like a cute old
That's what I was saying.
We
sign.
asked for money to have it restored,
Even if it's not restored, it's just moved.
but we need to confirm with the state where they're gonna, I assume it's gonna go to Congress Park, it needs to be relocated.
Yeah.
And then,
To the meeting.
is there some type of a
Yeah.
fund or budget remaining that could go towards signage for the district?
So my understanding is the Route 16 project is done, there's no money, it is locked and loaded, there are no changes, everything's been approved.
I meant like with, or all the funds this year for the commission
So
going
our
into the
budget-
buildings?
Let me run a report in a minute. Because I know district sign is on the agenda, so we have a budget, I wanna say it's $3,500. I'll see what the current balance is, that's the only money we have available to spend without further appropriation. So I think if we wanna do something with district signage, we need to come up with a plan and bring it into town meeting money,
yeah,
which is probably 2 or 3 months in advance of the town meeting.
so we're talking about, we are now.
November.
So, I mean, because of the timing of all of the things that are going on, it would be really nice if we at least could get 2 signs.
You know, it's something we can just buy.
I think we need to do like a bigger one in Founder's Park, kind of like staked on both sides.
Yeah, we can't do that on Farmers Park, they won't let you.
Why?
Like, in what way, like on the edge of Farmers Park?
No, well, first of all, they're gonna probably get knocked
Oh,
out.
we're not now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't spend any money, I mean, anyone that.
So we might be able to, you know, talk to
Are they
Judy
eating away
or
at the park?
No,
about.
they're not touching the park at all because they can't, because it's a park.
Yeah.
That's why.
So then why is it that you couldn't put in a little sign,
Mm-hmm.
The museum?
like a posted sign as you're driving in,
Yeah.
on both sides?
I mean, I don't, I guess we could, you know, the
Like, I mean,
town,
they put that big ugly,
I'd have to read the new town.
Orange.
And that's Lions Club.
the Lions Club's fine, no,
Yeah.
we don't have little feathers.
problem is,
Yeah.
how many
Yeah.
signs we want on this tiny
I know.
part? What we could do is have like
Yeah.
the pole with the banner,
Never.
you know,
That's true.
The banner in the historic district.
which is change them out,
I
like
see,
if
yeah.
it's those, we say like 1776 this year, and then next year you could say Taft birthday or whatever, you know. I just think you can only fit so many signs.
Right, I do think that there should be some sort of, I guess a banner is fine for, posting events and stuff.
A little, like,
Well, more permanent, something, a banner's only good for.
well, the nice thing with banners, you change it, so it's got something
Yeah.
new to say to you when you
We
drive
had
in.
some nice signs, what happened to that? Nobody likes those
I
anymore?
guess not.
Hey,
Why, go to my email that I just sent to Karen, hold on, I see
What do they
you.
look like? I mean, if they're small.
These are just
I mean, we looked at stuff.
AI, okay, guys, but,
Yes.
put me
Oh,
on,
that's a
put me
nice
on,
sign.
put me
It's
on the
small and
screen.
it's not illuminated, like, that's the thing, like.
Hold on, so this is, don't ignore this
I
weird
love that.
thing that AI threw in on the side.
Like the swirly whirly.
Ignore the lamppost, it got mixed up with another one of my designs, but it would be like,
These
Scroll
are.
up, scroll up, I know.
Oh, that's nice, I thought you meant like.
so like, I think this should be, there should be some sort of grounded sign that
Yes.
says you are in the historic district, and then some sort of like quick paragraph or something.
I don't know, I think that's nice, I thought you meant like a big old honker of a sign.
So who is,
That's a nice sign.
who's in favor of that?
I like that.
I don't know how much that would cost, so I sent Karen from Science Plus a message, so hold on, wait.
It was another one.
So then there's, this is, again, it's AI, so you're seeing like real weird, like, wow, it's.
Let me finish signing into this so I can pull our financial.
I mean,
Because I
do you
can't
think a
get
sign
something.
company might do it like for a much reduced fare because it's, or maybe is there Massachusetts signage money for historic district?
That's what I don't know, I don't think that's right, I think it's,
CPA and they won't.
CPA cannot pay for signage.
Like.
you have to have like local businesses like donate.
I mean, I know, so we asked for funding to restore the two historic signs.
Right.
And as part of that conversation, a certain private individual had previously reached out about donating to fix up one of those signs.
Cool.
Perhaps they would instead be willing to donate towards a historic district sign,
Maybe they would do both.
since we have the money for restoring historic signs.
Now hold on,
I want to name.
now hold on,
Yeah.
go back to that email, because I wanna show them what's on the town hall building right now.
Hang on.
It wasn't me, by the way. So what if
Oh,
we were
it's
to,
not on the screen.
let's say, we
This.
could afford two substantial signs.
Mm-hmm.
So look at,
And
scroll down more, this is what's on the building right now. So that was like a little one, so this is what we have right now, right, on the front of town hall.
Right.
What if you took, went off of that same idea and you had a black sign with the gold lettering, so it sort of all matches up, and you do, so that's like your
So this style.
color,
And then
your
mount
color
it-
scheme there,
mount
and
it
then you
on
do
the
something
post.
like,
this
like
one.
that, I don't know.
I mean, I kinda like the hanging one.
The hanging one is cute off of the lamp post, but I don't know who's paying for the lamp post.
But maybe, if we get a price on a sign like that, maybe it's worth approaching that individual and saying, this is what, I mean, I don't know what
could
they
you
cost,
donate, yeah. I
just,
think that's a great
because-
idea.
Let's see what Karen comes back with, she might be like, yeah, you could not, no,
I mean, I know anything cast is a fortune,
yeah,
Yeah.
but
I wanna hear it,
if it's just a
Yeah.
sign that's not cast, it may not be that.
yeah.
Well, it's gotta be cast, you gotta do it right.
Well, that's so I said that the materials would have to be like historically appropriate, somehow, some way. I don't
I
know,
forget what we paid for that plaque at the park, but it was somewhere between 2,000 and 5,000, that was almost 20 years ago.
Like
well, at least if we know.
architectural salvage and get those light posts.
I know, that'd be so cute. There's, when we were doing the house in New Hampshire, it's like right over the border of New Hampshire, it's Northeast Architectural Salvage. Rows and rows and rows. Oh, have you been there?
I'm addicted.
I I know, it's
You know, we
very.
could very easily, you know, I'm gonna pick up, just do a road trip, go grab some white coats.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know what money might be available at the end of the budget, if there's something there, if we go to Jeremy, but I wouldn't hold your breath for them to be able to cough up a lot of money.
No, because a lot of it just went to the budget.
I'm trying to run the report, but we have somewhere under $3,000.
so maybe it's not now, but it's good to get an idea and then maybe like
Is that
a plan.
after November?
This
It's
is
usually.
we have an annual budget of $3,500.
It'd be nice if it accrued.
But don't you think you guys are
Well,
gonna
if
be
you just
done
like, if you
the-
didn't spend it, you could have it again next year.
Record
That's my vacation.
surplus from that process that we're using on this. I can only get used.
So like 3,000 has to be by November.
No, we have 3,000, we have a budget, annual budget, of 3,500, it has to be used by June 30th.
This year?
Every year. Of that, 500 is postage for the district, 500 is postage for the commission, and the rest is expenses, so like the pest treatment, stuff like that. If we bought signage,
You need a
it's
donut.
for little stuff,
Yeah.
it's,
So really you
Consistent.
maybe have like what, $1,000 left
yeah,
by
I don't
June
know,
30th
tell
to
you
put
that
towards a sign?
our illustrious financial software apparently can't
Does
afford.
not need it. This town should have a little more pride in identifying what's important.
Yeah,
You know what, I
the problem is
was
we had to do
driving-
this 6 months ago and put in a request for a warrant.
But so maybe we plan ahead and we say, okay, so this will be next year's.
Just ask for it.
Yeah.
We can get the quotes now and
Yeah.
then over the
And you know,
months.
the pricing of materials might change over a year, but it might not be, it's not gonna be that much. I was driving through, Bolton, you guys ever have your?
Yeah, I love Bolton.
It's so pretty, I'm like, why can't our town center, like, it makes
We can, we just gotta make
So
it
hard.
happen, we gotta make it.
Oh, actually, we spent no money, so we have, I was wrong, it's $4,000.
And if they're gonna do.
500 for district, 500 for commission postage, kind of, and 3,000 for commissions. We have $4,000,
So
We can get 2 signs for $2,000.
assuming we don't do any hearings or post any.
We can pay volunteers
We're
to
gonna
hold
wing
that.
it.
I still could, they can like just stand there and.
And I think if we had something come through that was a little, there might be an opportunity to get a transfer of a small amount, but we're not gonna have 20,000.
I mean,
So I don't know.
I think you could do the one sign with the post on the side for now and then table the rest.
Well, see,
Like that
yeah,
one,
see what she
yeah.
says this costs, that would be the start.
And then we'll go from there.
the unfortunate thing is where we're celebrating the 250th, and there was a big celebration in August. And we're trying to get people in and out of the tavern and the town hall, and we're doing all this work.
Well, why don't we take donations for the song?
You know, it's probably not a bad idea.
Wait, so like just have a big, we'll have reenactors. They can dress up, kids love.
This is what I was saying about,
Yeah.
we need a full-on reenactment.
We need a reenactment, we get the kids from the high school to wear the powdered wigs and the
That would be
breeches
so
and
good.
my yard would
I
do
think
it.
that's all in the works for
Okay.
August 2nd.
Yeah, and then we have the here, you give us some money for the song group.
Believe me.
Tell them we'll give them
Oh,
volunteer hours for National Honor Society and they'll put those.
Oh, we should have 2 groups compete to see who raises the most money. We can have the Brits, you know, in the red
I
coats.
know.
And we can have the Continental Army, who gets the most money.
I think that'd be great.
I think so too.
That'd be fun. I think the reenacting stuff is.
I always think it's like
so
great, I'm like, yeah, you know, you're gonna help me out, and kids are gonna do.
So I'm sticking
They
here.
don't do anything, but I think.
If they can dress up, they'll do it.
If you think, yeah, maybe.
Let me check.
There's gonna be some serious bribery going on.
Well, they can get their volunteer hours that they need to
That's what-
graduate.
yeah.
I guess, yeah, so let's see what she says for the signage.
Alright, but I did send that out.
Yeah. I did, I put this on the agenda, there was a potential Eagle Scout candidate looking at a project at Founder's Park, mainly for the district, so landscaping is exempt. He's also possibly going to propose redoing the top of the Lions message board sign that's like disintegrating.
Oh, that'd be good.
That would be a good
The question if that,
What if he whittled like a wooden sign?
well, so that the Scoutmaster, Joe Hood, does the custom CNC, he has a
He's
machine.
got a CNC machine?
So I think that gonna see if they can do something with it. So I think the question is if the district needed to sign off on anything, but it sounds like it would be landscaping is exempt and repair, replacement, they're not changing the appearance, it would look the same, just be new.
Okay.
And I think if he's gonna propose a whole new sign, but I don't think, I'm not even sure he's gonna see if he can even do it.
Okay.
Yeah, they're gonna rebuild, actually, well, I don't know if this counts, rebuilding that trellis.
But they're gonna do that, why is there even a trellis?
I know.
I don't even understand that.
Disintegrated, so it needs to be replaced, and then.
But does it need to be replaced?
Where's there a the trellis,
It's
over,
like a
there's like a walkway with
It's
the
a trellis with the climbing hydrangea on it, but it's a trellis to nowhere where no one sits.
Well, that's a
Why do
question.
we have a trellis?
Floating.
It's not anchored in the
Because you
landscape,
know what it
it's
is,
just the
it's
thing.
because it's such a small park, there's not really you gonna.
Well, the thing about a small park is you've got to scale things smaller, like, so just a trellis floating in the middle of the landscape.
I mean, if we're gonna change this thing, I think
Scope of work, yeah.
we need to, like, if we suddenly decide we don't want that trellis at all, I don't know.
I would just get rid of it, why do we have it?
He can raise money for a historic district summit.
Yeah, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
I don't think they need to do, they need to do physical work though.
Yeah,
That's the big part.
Well, they can dig out the trellis, pull it off, and then put in the lamppost.
So I guess that's, I guess, to see,
I love
see if the Kathy, so if we, but that means that hydrangea then, does it need a trellis to survive, or?
Well,
Just move
You
it.
can dig up,
I-
it's
I'm wondering
perennial,
if
you
we
can
should
dig up a
stay.
climbing
Dig it
hydrangea.
up and stick it on the side of the building.
Yeah,
it's huge. I mean,
It maybe.
But it'll live, like, if we cut it in full, cut the roots, and we'll put it
A
next
climbing
to the.
hydrangea is very,
That's what this is.
it
They will
is a
come
little
right back.
sensitive, but I think if it's done right, it can be moved. I don't think that, I think you'd have to trim it back
You
significantly
just
with.
cut it to the crown, dig the root ball, stick it against the building and just put a trellis up.
Rootball's probably like.
I would be butchered.
Does it
Have you?
flower? Does it flower?
Oh, it does, it's very pretty, it's a lovely.
Yeah,
It's
they're- it's a really
it's a
nice
bit to
plant.
get
It's just-
going and
It's just
then
sit
it
in the
goes.
middle of a
I
field.
had one climbing up my chimney that I planted there and Jim, my husband, had some people come in to do it. He said, yeah, cut that down to the, just get rid of that. And they cut it down to the ground and it's never had a flower on it since then.
The hydrangeas don't like pruning, they take a few
It-
years for it to
yeah.
start
Yeah,
flowering.
It did
again.
not like to be pruned.
Yeah.
Why don't we just call it a day, cause you can get a new climbing hydrangea for like $40. Is that,
Well, so I guess I didn't really think
sometimes
this
the
was.
plant has just become so mature that it's time to go.
I was a little amazed at how, I mean, and not just one stem, but most of the stems were that big and they were just twisting into that
Yeah,
Yeah.
trellis.
it's time,
They were,
I mean,
they were on their good.
it's time to.
So I guess, cause he's like already started the process of getting his approval, so we tell
I don't
him,
think we really need to
stop,
fix
do not
that.
do the
You know
trellis.
what, let's, I would ask Anne because she was in charge of the,
Yeah.
craft.
I mean, there's other work he was gonna do, but I think,
The
you know,
sign.
if we remove, yeah, they have to build something, they organize, so they
How
can't,
about
they're
a
just
bench,
fundraise.
tell them to build a nice
Yeah,
bench.
you get a bench,
I mean,
and then the people walking the dog have somewhere to
We have
sit.
a bench,
On the other side,
maybe we need
Nobody
another.
sits on that bench there.
I guess I'd be careful, like, I don't wanna send this kid in circles.
I know,
So they could reset all the brick in the patio, because that needs doing.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's work that can be done by.
yeah.
No time.
so what is he gonna do with the trellis?
So his plan was to rebuild so we cut the hydrangea off, pulled it, it's gonna get all cleaned out of the trellis. He's gonna replace the trellis because it's broken at ground level and it's a hazard, it needs to go.
So
Just have a kill either way, is what I'm hearing.
Just
Well, there's
have-
enough next to it to grow up the trellis, and I guess
Well, isn't it feasible later
we
to
met
demo the
with Ann,
trellis?
with John. So now these are all brand new concerns that nobody mentioned before. I think you met with Ann, right?
Yes.
But so he's gonna
Discuss the trellis.
redo that, plant some plantings around it, and then here, let me screen share, these giant grass things, they're gonna pull out and we're gonna have him replant something else here, smaller grass.
It's not a huge project.
And then he's gonna look at redoing the top of the lion sign.
What am I looking at?
This,
Ornamental
Or-
grass mounds.
I don't, like, I walk by those every day, I don't never even notice.
They're like monsters
You know
now.
what, maybe what if we have them put in some native plants
I was gonna
there and
say,
make
that
like a
should
little
definitely
native
be
garden?
native.
He was gonna do that around the base of the trellis and then
The thing is,
replant this
there's
with a
no,
specific grass, I forget the type, we already told him.
there's no water there. It's just, it's a fool's errand, because it's just gonna die. Like, someone, we're in a drought,
Maybe that's why the grass was there, cause it's like.
it's tough, yeah.
Yeah,
But honestly,
Well, that's what, I forget the name of the plant.
until they redesign the whole landscape, I thought about throwing it out, because it's just, it would be a nice, but,
Blue stem,
um,
we asked him
it's
to.
just like bluestone grass. but-
We asked him to
Right.
remove the lounge and replant new blue stem in this that the town will supply. But I think, and ultimately the question here is who is in charge of this park?
yeah.
Is
who
it grounds,
in
is it
charge of
historic, is it parks? Cause I don't wanna lead this kid
Land
astray.
use.
Land use, but land use doesn't really have any authority.
I mean,
They
what
just-
is it
it's on the board.
for, I have to say, what is it hurt if we let them do the trellis and whatever, and
It
then,
just might be hurt if
And
the
then-
park gets redesigned later.
well, I'm just saying, and then a year or two down the road, if we have to move his trellis to a different location, is that horrible?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily feel bad about saying, hey, we had another discussion and now we're saying just get rid of the trellis, that means, he wanted to do plantings around it, and so just do native plantings, get rid of the trellis completely. But then the hydrangea,
That's
that's just gonna sit there or die or whatever.
It would be nice if they just weeded out the beds that are there, you know?
Is that whatever you can do? Dig out hydrangea and get rid of it?
I think so, but I bet the root system is.
It's probably,
Yeah.
once you cut it back enough, it's gonna die probably. It'll rot.
Well, then it should be dead today, so
Yeah.
I think. They have done the dirty deeds.
You know, it would be really nice if he would do, and what they would do in there, because there's so many nesting
What about
birds, and there's no nesting
Yeah.
bird
What
in
about like a
bathhouses.
little, have him do like a little
Birds
native
and
garden
bats.
and build an adorable like couple birdhouse thing?
Like, the
No.
bird houses would be perfect, I wouldn't have them plant anything, because I have to go over there and water it. I have to stretch the
But like
hose
some-
over
This
there.
project
But
is
there's
to
gardens
handle
you
that.
can do that don't, you
So
should.
it's
No, they always gotta establish though, you gotta water them until they root out. See, they should be planted in the fall, but if you made a whole bunch of really cute bird houses, that would be great, or bat houses, there's bats, but not any bat houses, and there's an owl that lives in that little hedge.
Yeah, but where do they go?
Really?
Yeah, I've seen him, it's a barred owl, he's a big boy,
I could have barred out, like,
he likes to talk.
So you have coffee together.
So I'll be in the bath and I'll hear him, and I'm like, oh no, he's back.
But more than anything, the biggest issue I think on that park is that walkway up to the museum. It is.
Right, but that wasn't,
Oh,
that wasn't assigned to him or told to, so that's.
Yeah.
That's a.
That's a project
you
we
need
need to
someone
get
with like equipment to pull it and like really
We have to hire
build
Mason to
it
be
and
like,
level it,
redo.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think he should
Be on the
focus
wish
on
list.
bird habitat.
that's a major, and what his proposal was to rebuild the trellis, do a garden out or area around it, native planting.
That'd be cute, that'd be cute.
He asked him to fix the sign, the top of the sign, he's gonna install that sacred ground sign that we had, he's gonna plant the new blue stem.
That might be
put
fine.
an information sign.
Yeah.
That's a lot to do.
Is that just strife?
No.
It's an invasive,
Nick,
you know, like,
Mike was, my son.
these are,
was
he's already watering them.
And Susan.
Is that yellow, this,
Oh, no, it's not loose stripe, it's
if this is what I think it is, it's seeded, you're just gonna smother it.
yeah, that's what I thought at first, but it could be bacteria that's yellow. If it's bacteria that's yellow, it'd be okay, but if
Well, it
it's
sounds
loose
like we should
stripe,
ask for more clarity on the plan as he gets.
So
to
like a
the
scientific.
I mean, right now, he has our approval,
I think that's fine, if you go up to his little
he's going to
plan,
council to get his approval for.
I mean, he just needs this to get his badge.
yeah, let him have it.
but I don't
I
want to
don't know
waste time
anything about
rebuilding
Eagle
your house.
Scout.
No shortcuts to be an Eagle Scout, you gotta earn it.
Yeah, that's why you should be out there weeding with us on
That
Saturday.
is,
If there's poison ivy, it needs to come out.
Well, they're already gonna do that, they're gonna mulch all the beds, I believe, the truth.
Oh, no, don't mulch the
Just talking
beds.
to John about it.
I just got rid of all that mulch.
Well, so it sounds like the takeaway from this is there needs to be some sort of advisory committee for this park. Because this is where we just go in
It's gonna be me in my
circles.
pajamas.
And we met with, you met with Ann, I met with Ann, we met with John and Ann, then Mike has his marching orders, we have this Eagle project, but then it's like, there's all these other
I think it
ideas.
needs a
And they just go in
complete, I think
circles.
we need to get a landscape designer in there, and I think it could be really, a small space.
Can you imagine, you know, we're gonna go to town meeting and ask for $50,000 to renovate the park? That's nobody's
Why
gonna,
not? Hi, I'm here, I'd love
you
to.
know, I mean.
A
It's
beautified
like, I just
Founder's
argued with
Park
somebody else, like,
committee.
you know, we have $100,000, we need new fields.
I know, I thought they were gonna put them in Nipmuc. They.
Those are school fields, we need more fields than that, those are gonna be turf fields that'll be locked down to, you know,
Field hockey and soccer.
we need practice fields, that's what we need. Like, just wide open fields, and they can have all their practices and then.
Yeah, but there's one right over on the road, it's, you know, Bellingham next to Royal Splash Coral.
Oh, everybody has to pay for that.
Yeah, that's a
That's-
that's a private
That's
facility.
Ann Mazar's field.
But I mean, the problem with fields is they all want lights on them.
Yeah.
It just goes out of control and then they wanna put chemicals all over them and it's.
You know, we need like I wish Clough was bigger to have a full-size soccer field on it, that was unfortunately limited by the property, but we need another like single or double soccer field size, just multi-purpose field, that's just practice field.
Where's your?
No idea.
Couldn't it go up by that,
Like
like,
the town
behind
plan,
you?
you can do that?
Yeah, we have to,
Could they buy it off of the
Site
blessing barn in the
design.
back, isn't there?
well, we have land we own, you have to engineer it,
Level it,
figure
it
it
has
out,
to be leveled and graded and blah,
We
blah,
can't
blah,
even-
blah, blah.
manage, you know, we can't even figure out science with this.
I mean,
We're gonna manage a field project. There's so many projects that we're so far behind on that nobody, I mean, they wanted a field committee, nobody was interested.
Well,
They need someone in the town
We
who's
have 3
like,
new commissioners for parks finally, so I think, not that the old, you know, but now we have some new people to hopefully push some of these projects.
Fields are tricky though. A lot of towns, once they put them in, they wish they hadn't, because there are a lot of maintenance, there are a lot of water. You know, you gotta water it, they wire up those big aliens landing strip lights, and those cost a lot of power.
Well, I wouldn't want us to have, like, we don't need another, you know, sports facility with lights, we just need
Thank
practice
God.
fields.
It's just a plain flat.
You know, at some point, you know, I know they talked about like a sports complex and.
And even those have tough requirements, and you have
They're
to have
doing
an
that in school.
irrigation system.
Yeah, that's your sports complex with your game fields.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway,
it's all right, well, I'll just keep driving to Marlboro and Northborough.
so should I tell him to not do a trellis then, or just let him do
I
it?
think
It's
just
not
let
getting
it
his.
do it.
It's just getting-
I'll double check with Ann
yeah, because
and see.
supposedly, I think somebody paid for the trellis. I don't know.
They always do it, right? Later on. we can
That's
do
true,
it.
it could get relocated, it depends on.
Yeah, it's a wooden trellis, they're not, the life expectancy of a wooden trellis with gigantic roots growing
Yeah,
up
they're
all
not-
over it is very slim.
Maybe they
so-
could just-
I question if something,
I
we
think
get this
time is-
sheared off at the base and cracked, it's like all of a sudden it's like doing one of these.
Well, it's probably from the force of the.
Right,
Maybe
It's also,
they could just-
there are electrical lights
yeah.
at the base of
Oh,
that. So that is why, I think why
Why is there like?
relocating
Low
it
voltage.
wasn't really an option.
There's landscape, you're right.
You don't need that.
And I don't think
Put some
anybody
solar
has
lights in there,
to-
so, yeah.
Is it needed though, really?
Over time, I think,
Yeah.
it's like some things.
There's so much lights, you can see all night.
Oh, that's,
So like,
you have to deal with it.
like,
so,
yeah, it's like, I wear those like things on your eyeballs to sleep, cause it's so bad, like everybody and their Bob Seger at the light, and they're just, oh my god.
Alright, so if that's,
I'm gonna
we
put a
talked about
hen in
padding.
my front yard and just start
Is
blasting.
there any more discussion on the preservation restrictions? I left this on there, but we're talking about,
No, I haven't really.
it's
No, you know,
private, but that's not us.
yeah, let's table those for now, because, I think if we can focus on, like, the task at hand, like, do we
Yeah.
get the district signs up? do we get North Ave Historic District underway? And, how do we get the weights and measures over
That was the
here?
next
And
one.
how do
So
we
the
pay
weights and
for the
measures
truck?
update, so it sounds like we need to find a contractor to do
This
the work.
is getting a little
So
ridiculous.
somebody, there was a recommendation, I said,
So I will call them
so I would talk to them.
Yeah.
Is that sending that other
Did you
company,
see their proposal?
Prosio Fine Art?
It's a new.
It's like on
Yeah.
Kickstarter and everything.
Do
They're
something.
not that.
How does that?
And I
One
think
thing
that's
and
it's
it's
not
not.
expensive.
Yeah.
It's just a real estate.
Why is it?
No, that's what Boston, they don't want to move it from.
Whatever.
Well-
I think their offices aren't
Right,
actually,
well, so some of it,
you know, they work out.
They're gonna preserve the exterior.
we could've, what,
That's the new
Who
stuff.
gave you the
It's a way
$1,000 quote?
You can actually just.
Is it Liberty?
That's a good quote. $1,000 is a good.
it was
quote.
great, but
50s, I think.
when I mentioned prevailing wage, they disappeared. He was gone,
Oh,
he ghosted me.
well, that's all.
Undercover.
I think the rectory was 50s.
Right, so I just think if we bust on this devil's, whatever it is,
And then Only Cook was the other one that I think we just need to keep trying painters.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I don't know, there's just too much ladder work, I think, for it to be an Eagle project.
yeah, definitely.
I mean, I don't know, conceivably, is it something that we could handle in-house? I don't know, I'm thinking like, I would spend an entire week painting one building, whether that's an effective use of facility coordinator hours,
Right, I'm gonna guess it depends,
Yeah,
if
we have
things
no
are
choice.
slow, somebody could.
we run into.
But again, it's that, you have to take all of those plexiglass off,
Yeah,
the windows, do the trim, and then screw them back on, which
wow, a huge amount of work. That little tiny building, which I do at some point, to give you.
Yeah, the one we were gonna go see.
Yeah, so the other thing with Only Cook, so Dewey came out, looked at it for powder post beetles, the guy basically said, I won't waste your money. My little perimeter spray won't do anything here. He's like, this building needs to be tented and fumigated, it's so severe. And I think you mentioned you had another company maybe that could.
Yeah, F&W, and I mean, I guess, maybe we can't do the whole shebang, but it's springtime, they lay their eggs right now, and if we can't get something down, it's just gonna, maybe we need to do it on a on.
And we can certainly call Dewey and say, we discussed it, we want you to spray the perimeter, based on what the gentleman told me, I think.
No, I mean, the guy
Can
that
they
did,
bait like they do for termites?
Yeah, like the little green sticks.
Yeah, I think if they kill termites, wouldn't they kill powder post beetle? I think pretty sure they do.
Which is what he
yeah,
said.
but
you
it
have another
sounds like
contact.
he's only doing perimeter and not the inside
Why
of the
wouldn't we do
building.
the inside?
Yeah, that's weird.
Is that
I mean,
right?
I can ask him follow up of exactly what treatments they recommend, he
Maybe they
basically
should
looked
just
around, he
do-
looked inside, went inside, said this place is so far infested
They
that
always say that.
it's not worth us treating
And
it.
it's been infested for a long time, it's like, is their current
Yeah.
activity.
I mean,
And
his-
I know there is downstairs in the corner.
It probably
Which
has
is
termites too, if it has.
Well, maybe they should just treat for termites and hope it knocks out something. I'll ask my person.
Well, I think we can certainly call them up anytime, and it probably gonna cost us $300 to have them come out and treat it,
Who do you use Dewey?
Dewey we've been using, because they've been doing stuff, but certainly if there's other companies we can.
I think they're all the same, we always use Colonial, but I'm sure people use.
If you had a contact, like you said, if you had a contact with F&W, maybe ask them what they think about it.
Yeah, because I mean, what I understand is this guy's very honest and he'll, like
Yeah.
Dewey said,
I mean, he didn't even charge us for the site visit, he's like, I feel bad taking your money.
Yeah.
But he seemed to feel that it was beyond their ability to treat.
Could you, it's inside, right? So
Yeah.
you're talking about the little building in the edge of
Yeah.
the neighborhood. Couldn't you like swap out a couple of the, like raise it, and you might have to replace some of the sills and the,
Yeah.
if it's so far gone, because now you're supporting a building that's just with hollow shell and.
Well,
use.
and that would be engineering.
I'm just saying,
I don't think he
it's
was
not-
looking at the structure of the building, he was just saying there's so many signs of powder post.
I'm just saying, like, if it's that, if the damage is that extensive. Why are we trying to fumigate them? You need to replace the lumber.
Right, which is what they did in the corner upstairs, but I don't think they did an entire replacement in the bottom, and that's where the part of post-appeal activities appears to be taking place.
Okay.
So we can go for an NPPF grant because it would be eligible, and we could have additional work done to either bring in heat or, you know, some kind of climate control and replace anything that's in there now that it's on the National Historic Register.
Yeah.
You know, but then, you know, there's gonna be issues with, you know, maintenance, what, you know.
I mean, that building is a monster of a project to get, I mean, that's like somebody's master's thesis to go in there and organize all that and figure out and come up with exhibits, and I mean, it's
That
so much
was really
potential.
nice, there's great stuff inside that we got from.
I guess it's just like-
There's-
Yeah,
We're putting a Band-Aid on it, just to have revisited the issue.
Stabilize
I
it.
think
Yeah.
that's it, I think you stabilize it and then you, I mean.
Maybe you just, how much does it cost to fumigate it?
It can't be that.
the gentleman that I spoke with made it sound like there are very few companies that have the ability to tent off an entire building and fumigate, and he gave me a name, but there's like one or two in the state.
Well,
that
maybe we
actually
just
do.
call them and just find out.
Yeah, we have to.
I mean, it's not gonna be a million,
Look at
zillion
the
dollars,
number.
it's, you know.
$10,000, $20,000.
But we could, if we apply for a grant, fumigate it and stabilize the worst of the wood, and then,
It's not like anybody's living in it right now.
yeah. So you don't have to clear out the people and disconnect the electric, or do you? Like,
And it's all sealed up with
Yeah,
plexiglass.
they're gonna have to, they have to tent it and follow all sorts of, because it's town property, they can't
Yeah.
just,
well, they have to follow the H&S, but it just,
yeah, nobody's living there.
yeah. You might as well just find out how much it costs to tenant, I mean, move it
If we think
forward.
that's worth doing, and then,
Because we can spend as much time thinking about if we should do it,
Right.
and then it would fall apart, you
Yeah.
know?
Exactly, yeah, and so we're just, you know, with all of these projects,
yeah.
you know, the frustration is not getting anybody to respond,
Mm-hmm.
knowing how small the projects are, and getting them moving, it's just, you know, 50 calls to get one house done. I know.
Yeah,
Only for two
yeah, it's
squad.
slow, it's slow.
Yeah.
Now, with that piece of
John's
furniture,
Robert
because you
and
have to find someone
John
that does
Robert,
prevailing wage, what if somebody volunteered to it? You have to go through the same channel.
No, so we have to, there's a couple thresholds, so if it's over 10,000, we have to get 3 quotes.
Yeah.
If it's over 50, we have to do a formal RFP process.
To the town.
An individual sole proprietor does not need to do prevailing wage. That's on them to decide how they want to do it. I believe they could donate their services, and that could be their bid, we could pick them for that.
Yeah.
You know, somebody could donate $20,000 worth of
Right.
testing, absolutely
I
not.
don't know, but let's measure it before.
But also, we can just go to CPA and ask for that money, we need to do it at a time.
No, I don't think it's that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's set one that's fine,
But all
you
the
get a quote,
other pieces and parts.
if we think that's the direction. to
Oh,
go.
yeah, the fumigation. I would do that, yeah, get the quote, I mean, it doesn't hurt you to get the quote.
50,000.
And then for the furniture, for the weights and measure piece.
Is that inside that thing?
No, it's a different building.
It's different,
Unbelievable.
I was
Did
gonna
you
say,
say you knew some movers through your line of work, like,
Yeah.
I do, Crozier Fine Art, and they're in Wilmington,
Anybody,
but they're not gonna do $1,000, I mean, it's probably gonna be 2, 3.
well, we asked for, what, 5 or 10, we have money,
Yeah.
it's just a matter of, and I actually,
I'll send you then,
Kathy, what was the width?
where's my
Did you say it was 6 feet?
6 wide.
It's not that big.
Because I
No,
meant
no, no,
to-
6 tall, 4.5 wide.
only 4.5 wide,
2 feet. Yeah.
6 foot tall. I think it'll fit in this elevator.
Yeah, possibly.
yeah, but you have to actually like angle it in, you know, if it.
Is it, and it's going in here, is the floor gonna support it?
Upstairs.
And the floor will support that way, it's not that heavy?
In the corner, I think it would be.
Okay.
Wouldn't get the elevator with it. Weights and measures in the elevator.
Yeah.
It's like the world's fattest
Yes.
Alright, so Wilmington,
It's Crozier Fine Art, and they just move stuff, like, you know, like, there's an auction, you buy a woo-woo thing, they come and move, you know, so I mean, I can't imagine they charge
I think
more
we
than.
have the money, it's, okay, so next week's W say
Do it.
yes, bring it.
I believe it will fit in that elevator. 58 inches,
Alright.
and it's more than 6 feet tall.
I'm not getting in that.
I'll get a bigger tape. We moved like giant file cabinets.
We don't hit the button and run away.
It's fine. It's hydraulic, it's not going, it physically can't.
And it breaks down, what?
It actually has been, the only time that elevator has problems is when somebody manually grabs the door and tries to move it, despite the 37 signs that say, do not touch, do not touch.
Oh.
Sometimes there's like a long delay, and that's normal, and people freak out, so they pull it, and then they pull it off the track.
Oh.
The problem is it's a residential elevator, and in a commercial building, and it's getting crappy that way. It's not meant for that.
So we had them move a
They
massive
should
desk,
have done
that Harvard, I mean massive.
Yeah, that's.
And the
That's
container for it,
Like
and
pushing
it
up the stairs.
was $3,800.
Oh my God, okay.
So, I mean,
Done.
it was huge, and they had to store it in a place, and then they had to bring it back and put it back in place.
I mean, you
So,
see.
because I was
the track.
replacing the carpet in the dean's office, and it came out in like, it was massive. And then we put it downstairs in like a storage room, and then we had to come back, so it was $3,800 total with that tax.
That's
We had to
beautiful.
not profit.
Because it'd be nice to get that done before that event.
Yeah,
I did,
Um,
I think I CC'd you, I did email Jeremy and asked him to meet to just confirm that he's cool with this, and he didn't respond.
We just.
That was fine, because we made them do it.
I don't, he's not gonna say no, I don't think, but I think we need to just.
Are we waiting for a selectman approval?
I think it's Jeremy,
Then we need to get
It's on the wall.
plexiglass ordered.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, honestly, for the plexiglass and stuff, I would just call Area Glass and say, here's what we want, give us a quote.
Yeah.
They'll show up, they'll do it, they'll handle it. They'll install it, you'll pay, I mean, it'll probably cost some money, but we don't have to deal with it.
It should be on the invoice.
Let me follow up with him again.
It
because-
is. Yes, it's, and that's.
I mean, I assume that you can, I don't think the select board need it, I mean.
It
they would too,
is. 855 350 4766, and I'll see if my colleague, who's like our historical preservation person, officially personally, if she has a particular person there that she works with.
Okay.
It's not that name, you know.
Where are we
That
thinking
is-
of putting these? Third floor somewhere?
Do we want to take a field trip upstairs?
I
Yeah.
mean, we get
Next door.
technically we're not.
It's like a
Meeting is
haunted
being-
tour.
Well, I guess.
Oh.
What's up with the sign on the library? It's like graveyard carnival or something. What does it say?
It is.
What does it say? Graveyard something? There's something going on, some event.
I don't know, it's,
Graveyard.
I think it, isn't it Graveyard Carnival?
It's a carnival?
It's kind of like high school pranky thing.
What's going on?
I don't know, but I saw that too driving home one night, I was like, what
what
is
did she
that?
do? She's got all
Maybe it's
sorts
like
of-
like a spooky book festival.
I don't know. Maybe it's not carnival, the
There's
wording
all sorts of
like-
stuff.
Deb, you walk over there and tell us.
Cemetery
Don't bring the
safari.
ghosts back.
Oh, cemetery, sorry.
I agree with you, I
It
think
was
it's
close.
something weird.
I was
But that's pretty fun.
Award-winning, Emmy-nominated host writer, blah, 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 I don't know what it is though.
You're probably walking around looking at historic gravestones.
But what-
They're trying to make it fun, they're trying to get the kids.
I know
Hold on.
I don't know what he's talking about. This is a weird, so I was trying to find out what this was.
Wait, what's his name?
Belanger, literally doesn't have his first name.
Belanger is a noted speaker.
I don't know what this is.
Haven't we come to the,
Yeah.
to the library?
Is this the guy that it had before? And
It might
Yeah,
be,
it's senior
because
center.
I feel like I've gone to something with him, no?
That's her. She.
Ricky talked about like the history
vague
of Halloween
post.
or something.
But they do all sorts of stuff over there. Yeah, so I will follow up with Jeremy and find out, I mean, I was thinking somewhere on the third floor, most likely.
Were we supposed to touch
Or
base
like that.
before we close out, were we supposed to touch base on the articles that Dick Grady wrote for the library?
Oh, yeah, so that was the other question for the signage. Let me find that email.
Sorry.
We should replace the sign on the front of the old library with one similar to what's on town hall. And then with a picture, but also that's, we only have the 3,500, so if we do that. So I think this was,
How about do something?
that sign probably will be a little less, this is what Kathy had sent.
Where is that
It's
sign?
gonna be like spooky.
I think that the library is haunted, right?
It looks haunted.
Is there a thing?
Yes, it is.
You know, there's a Matchy library, where is it, like Bellingham? It looks exactly like it.
Oh,
It's like
They were-
they built it on the same.
They were
plan.
Union churches.
Yeah.
They had been built.
Oh,
in
right.
the-
Yeah, it's like, it looks identical.
So I meant to take a picture of it, there's a sign in the front of town hall that's like it's a circus sign, but it's a little bit bigger, so it has like a nicer kind
Okay, I read his little thing about
of,
the,
this is just one thing, and there was.
I think if you called it haunted, you get a lot of visitors.
There's more pictures, okay. And then you, it'd probably be good to have.
I have those
give it to
ghost
one
people
over.
there that one time.
Yeah. How about like,
the ghost hunter.
on one of those Netflix shows where they come up with haunted Mendonma.
Yeah. This is about Susan.
It's just the history of the building.
What's her name? With the other one?
Is that gonna fit on the sign though? It's a lot of text.
It was a lot, that's why I'm like, so where is that going?
Let me find a picture.
You almost need a chastity sign for that.
Yeah, like, you know, like, is that what you're talking about? That's what we call them.
I just made that up, Casti sign. Sign that doesn't get termites. Wood rot.
There we go. This is the sign, I don't know if you can read it, but that's on the front of town hall.
Oh, that one's on the front of town.
So this would be a sign in this style.
I was thinking you would do like, oh, that's a lot of writing right there, but I guess I've never even read it.
Yeah, it's tiny, it's not high.
Like, you know, like when you go to a museum or a monument, there's something
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
rounded with
I
like plexi or something over it. so
Yeah, the plexi is always yellow.
We can do
It's got mold on it.
I mean, I think we need to replace this. Apparently I can't go up the street, so never mind.
You did it.
We need to replace this with
Yeah.
something, that either we just use the same one, but one that's new.
Could we put that on a hangy thing out at the street? It would be cuter, like to match the hangy thing that you would kind of expect for the.
Well, I have a proposal. Why don't they finish the brick to go beyond the, like, go to the point? They did that nice brick and then they stuck it at the walkway.
Yeah, that's pretty weak.
I was like, I drove by, I was like, what, are you freaking kidding me?
It's like,
Somebody
look at the
recycled
nice
down
bricks and you put your hand
red
in.
money to do something else.
They were like, oh no, we couldn't go an extra 2 feet.
No, don't finish. I need the money for
Yeah,
something.
unfortunately, we
Well,
just
what
actually
was
had
it?
a meeting
What
about
was the other thing?
that project. The problem is, it got down to the wire and then decisions had to be
Just ran
made.
out of money.
Nobody came to any planning meetings. You know, so they basically was like, here's what your budget is, here's what you have, or lose the whole grant, walk away from everything.
I mean, we met with them a bunch of times, you're the one that suggested the brick, but I just don't know why they didn't continue it.
Because they couldn't afford it.
They
They did everything they could
One
with
day.
the budget.
one day.
And that was
But
it.
anyway, I
What
think
they
that,
did was they hit a hiccup when they hit the,
You know.
pipe.
Yeah, no, this was always the plan. This was the plan and the design, and they basically said, that's all the brick you can afford. That was the plan, that was what we were told in the process.
They just paint the
And I
sidewalk.
think, had you
like
had a more
bricks.
supportive upper levels,
Administration.
the conversation might have been, well, gee, we need to come up with another $5,000.
Right.
Not,
Right.
you're done and done and,
well,
Do it.
maybe,
Well, I mean,
maybe
it's
one
not
day
like we
to
can't
revisit
ever
it.
do it, it's
Yeah.
just like, do it later.
Like a gradual,
you know.
wouldn't it be nice if the whole district had it?
Yeah.
Someday it will. I mean, I think that next phase of complete streets, hopefully somebody will pick it up and finish running with it.
Dylan, I think, is the person. who-
Yeah, I mean, the paperwork is just go, go.
But anyway, yeah, I think that putting a sign out there would be nice, so.
Um,
And you could just match it the way you have it on the existing town hall here,
I mean,
that's fine.
the question, it would just be a sign similar to style that's on the town hall with that language just up here. I mean, they'll have to, someday if they cut that push down,
I think,
wow, how different it is in the street.
I like the idea of just like keeping it cohesive, like these are historic buildings,
Right.
and signs, and.
Well, I think the thought was to do a little bit bigger on the town building. And maybe we should do
I
a
don't know how
fire
you're-
station too.
I don't know how you're going to do
Pay your taxes here.
something not that size with all the text that Dick wrote.
Yeah, well, we could just say Mendon Town Hall, Harrison Hall, Mendon Town Hall, Circa, and be done with it. They don't have to do all
Oh,
that
he went
stuff.
through all the effort though, and it's nice, it's a nice story.
Well, I think that's what's most significant is how the library evolved.
Came to be.
And who, and the two ladies that donated all that money in honor of the people that they loved.
And there weren't enough for brick sidewalks, so.
So if we're good with this, I'm gonna send this to Karen and ask her to give us a proof. Do
Okay.
you wanna keep this picture?
Yeah, it's a
Well, you
spoof
tell me, do you
picture,
wanna
look at
straighten the
that.
picture out, is there a
The
better?
picture's kind of like, you know,
Well, we can straighten
yeah, it'd be
that out.
nice to put that in AI and make it straight.
So there was that one, there was that much older, this is from, well, the stairs are there, so that's pre-1930.
Yeah.
And like maybe can people actually go into the library
The upstairs,
Anymore?
anywhere?
the downstairs is the building department.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
The whole, that whole downstairs is the building board.
Been in there, I just never recognized it.
What about the main level, like?
Like storage.
But why not have some sort of,
ADA compliant, so it's a
Functional.
massive investment. So
but
Ellen,
I mean, like,
there are some
but it's
conversations about it.
pre-existing, so why would it need to be
Yeah,
ADA?
once you hit that stupid 30% threshold, that like if you spend X amount of dollars worth of worth of the
There's
building,
also,
it's
there's
like
one
a
bathroom
main
that's
appliance.
downstairs, so now you have access to all those offices. So there, Ellen is pushing forward a little bit. I think
Cause you could put.
there is a
like-
future conversation to do to do something and reuse that space, but again, that's a $100,000 to $500,000 project that somebody has to pursue and manage.
Right.
We
Or
still
you
have
do
to
like
have
the cute,
it.
like outdoor bathrooms, like the Vanderbox do it.
Yeah, well, you turn it into a meeting space, I think, restore it like a church.
Yeah.
You could put a bathroom up there, it's just, it all has to be.
It's
engineered,
it's
designed,
such
permitted.
a, it's, oh my
It's a
God,
huge
it's a
project.
nightmare.
I thought it could be like a little museum or a little
Yeah, I mean, right now,
art gallery.
You
or
can
something.
get a waiver depending on how you're using it,
Yeah.
but yeah, you would have to have your outdoor bathrooms.
well, if it had limited use, but,
Yeah,
you know, who's gonna?
like what why is there storage? What are they storing in there?
Town
Yeah.
files,
Under here.
empty file cabinets, select book files, CPA files.
They make them digital, so who's gonna, why don't they hire?
That's another, see, the problem is you open one project and you get into 100 more.
I'm just saying, like,
No, I mean, I'm
it's
the
like they
same
become
thing.
like a building to hoard.
Yeah, but the problem is there's nobody managing these projects. It's so easy to sit here and say this, but like,
I know.
That-
Town needs
You
a
had
whole
town meeting
overhaul.
project manager.
Yeah,
Yeah, like in
just these projects, and look at the windows. We spend nothing with these windows, and engineering money is sitting in the budget. And we can't even get an answer on what the next steps are.
okay, let's break this down real, cause there's too much going on. So what is our top
We
priority?
have a trellis of the park. We
So the Boy Scouts are, the Eagle
Maybe
Scouts
they
gonna
can put
handle
birds
that, it's gonna
on
look a
the
lot better
trellis.
than it does right now, that's great, so
I
that's
think
one thing that's gonna
It's the
happen.
weights and measures in the record room and only 12.
Okay,
That's,
So those are
we
your
need to
priorities.
close those out, and then like you said, I think if we focus on anything else, I think the district on North Ave
Yeah.
is from the
It's a
district
lot
perspective.
for us to absorb.
And that's something that we probably, and I forget the timelines now, but we basically need to have a completed print-ready study report by like,
Right.
you know, September 1st. Oh my God. And that might even be too late for the November meeting. Because it's such a huge
Well,
timeline.
I don't think we'll ever get it in front of people until the next 2027. But, you know, we gotta do the dirty work and get it
And I
done.
don't think it's a huge amount of work, we literally just need to take everything that's been done and compile it. All the stuff, all the work was done from Macros, add new computer pictures and write up a narrative, the main part.
And there's, I mean, the history of that land is just so interesting, you know, of all the
I
dairy
happen to have
farms and-
a recent college graduate at home who's only working part-time. I might like volunteer her for this. Just, she has a history degree.
I wonder if we
I
can
have
theoretically, not that
documents.
maybe delves into ethics and we have to post a job, but I wonder.
Yeah,
if it's
post it, or make it an
to
intern with a stipend, when you like,
do some of this work.
just do a couple $100
You know,
bucks.
Again, we don't have, you know,
But then she can put it on her hours. Like, the thing is, to like get into graduate school, you have to do so many hours of doodah work. And
It's all volunteer
so
work.
right now, she's at USS Constitution, but they're only giving her like a 20 hours.
Should be right across the street.
Yeah, she's right across
I
the
can
street.
send you the.
We were gonna actually do a dig in the back. I find all kinds of artifacts, and I told her, we'll do a dig in the backyard this summer. We'll find all kinds of jazz. I just wanna find the pot that's gold. But the DOT I'm concerned about because that is gonna be imposed on you. They have a timeline, so we should deal with
We
it.
need to get more information.
We don't
I'm guessing we'll get the same thing we've been getting, is nobody knows.
Well, I thought that we should email, I don't know, okay,
Well, I
it has to
think-
come from a bona fide.
I think we need to go through the town administrator, I don't think we can jump right in.
I will email out the names on
Yeah,
and the contact emails, and then we should send in a bona fide letter so that they come
yeah,
and give
but
their
I think
spiel.
we need to
you know.
go through Jeremy, we can't be reaching out to MassDOT independently.
No, remember, but I'll just compile it because they are going to come whether we are ready or not, you know.
Right.
Alright,
And
so,
then if maybe, maybe see what that gets
And
us,
what
and if
they
we don't get an
do
answer,
will not be
then
fixable
it has to
if
be in
they
front of
break it, you know.
get it from the select board.
They get a bunch of yahoos who bang the post road marker, that it's gonna be broken, and that's that, you know. I don't have a lot of confidence in DOT, I see what they're doing in Cambridge, and it's like Tweedledee, Tweedledum. They hit a major water line the other day, they hit the sewage line.
And that
They
is-
were out there like with a,
Oh, we don't have to worry about that.
yeah, they just kind of do, it's not that they didn't plan, it's that no one's there executing the plans in person. They just, some dude who drops by in his Massachusetts pickup truck and then buggers off, sits at Dunkin' Donuts for 2 hours on his.
God, you
Cool.
found me.
Is there anything else, we probably should set a meeting date, but.
Yeah.
All right, let's do that.
May 18th is the next meeting for the,
The 250th.
yeah, the 250th. So we could do back to back if we wanted to, or is that too soon? Is it too?
Yeah, I don't know, I don't know what else, whether things come up or not, I would assume we might see some historic projects coming down the wire. I think there's something else on the agenda, which will be another.
Or do we need to get together before the town meeting?
I don't think so, so the article for the funding for the signs is on there, the moving of the weights and measures is on there. I don't think those will be an issue, they'll probably end up going to consent calendar,
This is next week.
May 12th.
Deals on next week.
And then I think yes, we could tentatively meet the 18th, we could wait a little bit.
What do you want to do?
why don't we just push it out?
Yeah, we
A
got,
week
I'm gonna be in the
after
UK that week, so the 18th.
Honestly, oh my gosh, that whole next week was a nightmare for me.
That's for one.
Early June.
So we can
What's
meet
the last
June
week in May?
25th.
25th or the first week in June?
I think I-
would make a suggestion.
I'm gonna have to be the first week in June,
Yeah, I think I-
unless we do
Yeah,
the.
'cause we've got commencement on the 27th,
Yeah.
28th, and now I'm gonna shoot myself in the head. I'll come in with one
Or
arm.
June 1st.
All right, so June.
Yeah, it's just to at least it's on the calendar and then see if it comes up, but. I haven't seen any projects come through.
And if we have to meet sooner, do you know what I mean, if something.
Yeah.
Right. We can.
Like if those DOT people said, we can only come the
Right, well, I
last
think
week
we
of
have
May,
to meet with them, but I think probably the first step is email Jeremy and then if.
then they can
go from there.
compose something and say,
Anywhere, but I think. there's
you send
questions that need to be answered.
representatives, yeah.
If there's a future meeting with the select board, I don't really know. Even the Civil War took forever to get an answer on.
That's the problem is the DOT has a timeline, they've surveyed, they've sprayed the ground, and they know the spray paint ain't lasted forever. So, that means they're gonna stall.
Well, they're doing utility stuff now,
Yeah.
so.
They're gonna get
We
going,
kept losing,
so the power company can hit the money.
we kept losing like nonstop, and I was like, it makes no sense, a whole building on, it's have to be with.
Yeah, they're doing, I think it's Eversource.
Oh, no, it's
On
not.
tap, they're doing something, and then I got dig safe tickets from somebody on Milford Street,
National Grid is not.
but it's all underground stuff. There's a fiber over on.
I was hoping that when they do this road, they were gonna bury the power lines, but no such luck. They're gonna have it all dug up, just put them on, it would save you from having the traffic light go out.
Are they gonna start doing the grocery store in combination with like the
as far as I know, the grocery, the outlet of that business park is going to have a stoplight at opposite Millville Road. But I don't know any of the timeline, it kind of seems like me and it's just completely stopped in all his projects.
Yeah, because the economy is,
Right,
it's
nobody's.
a joke, there's no profitability in anything like that.
Just, I mean.
And if you looked at your 401k recently,
We're gonna.
they find like cut in half in 24 hours.
So 8:51.
Close your eyes.
Motion to adjourn.
Right, but I wouldn't be building anything for profit right now.